Guys, how's it going and welcome back. So do you want a free power mod for the Airjavelin by Umarex? When you pull back your buttstock, there's a little port up top. Now I saw this on another video and I'd like to give him a shout out right now, and that's Kid Pellet. And so do check out his channel. He has done a complete teardown of this gun. And he's the one who actually discovered the power jack up on this thing. And one thing he didn't mention in the video, and hasn't since, I don't know why, was the size of the Allen key. So I'd gotten my wife, last time she was in town, North Bay, to pick me up a whole new set of Allen keys, because you have to have a ball end tipped Allen key like this. So I went through the metric sizes, the SAE sizes. Now Kid Pellet said it was an SAE, so standard size, not metric. And the nearest I can get to fit in there and pop into place is actually a 9/64. And it goes in on an angle, and you're going to need long ones. Okay, these are not short Allen keys. You need a long one because there is a bit of depth going down in here. And you just kind of finagle it and it'll go right into place. And then you just turn it counterclockwise. Get it to finagle back in again, and so on. And there's actually quite a bit of adjustment on that screw. Neither one of us are sure exactly how much, but back it out, 4 or 5 turns, and throw your gun over the Chrony and see how much of a speed increase you get. We are actually going to Chrony this. Now, I first did my Chrony testing at about 8 degrees. Right now, my weather forecast says it's 2 degrees out there. I'm thinking, oh, no, that can't be it. It's too warm out there for 2 degrees. It is sunny, but I am going to wait a couple hours, but it'll be still on this video. Anyways, before we end this video, I will have also gone back, rechecked my Chrony results at 8 degrees. On the same power plant. I'm just going to use the dual 12-gram adapter that I used in the Chrony video. I actually used 3. I used the 90-gram regular bottle, the dual 12-gram adapter from Umarex, and a single 12-gram. So I'm going to base this on the dual 12-gram and see how much of an increase of power we actually see. Now, I've turned this thing out an additional couple times on video, so I've got about a total of about 6 turns on this screw. And we're going to see what kind of an increase we actually did get with 6 full turns. So, but if you're looking for the Allen key screw size, it seems to be that a 9/64 is the winner to fit in there. But like I said, you got to finagle it. It'll pop in place, but it does have to be a ball end. I've tried this with regular Allen keys, and a regular 9/64 is not going to go in there because of the angle that it has to be attacked at. So the ball end seems to work fine. But so we'll see what happens after 6 turns and see what kind of an increase we get, because there's nothing wrong with an increase. And the manual does not cover this as far as what this is actually for. It's the same thing as the back of the stock where the little caps are. People have found that you can actually fit 12-gram CO2 bottles in there, 2 on each side, put the caps back on, and you got extra CO2 with you. Again, not mentioned in the manual. This is something that was found merely by monkeying around, right? Kid Pellet found this power adjustment because I guess he was having problems and needed a bit of extra juice out of it. He's been playing around with HPA with this thing. And so anyways, he's been doing a couple of little mods to his Javelin. Now, I'm not going to that extent, to taking the gun apart and all that. I'm just kind of like, well, if there is a little bit of extra juice out of this thing, that's kind of going to be cool, especially once the summertime hits, because that's going to increase even further above cooler weather shooting. So I'm hoping we do see a bit of an increase on this. I'm actually sure that we will, because it does make sense that when you add preload to a hammer spring, you will get extra power. We know this from modifying regular pellet guns with power adjusters. Power adjusters on pellet guns, they work a little different. You got to kind of find that little sweet spot to give you the maximum with your current mods. This is just no mods. This is just turning that screw up. And from the factory, they do set this screw completely flush inside that adjustment cap. So, you know, 6 turns out, that's not a lot to actually turn it out to get an increase. But it should still give us an increase. And you'll know by feeling the tension, you know, because that's actually, I can feel that's actually quite a bit of extra tension just with those 6 turns. So that should definitely give us more power. And if we cock the gun and just dry fire without CO2, I can feel that that's also a lot harder hit. So this alters valve timing detonation. Anyways, let's go out to the Chrony and let's see what we managed to pull off here. Alright guys, before our CO2 gets a chance to cool down, let's check this out, see what happens. 311. Woo! And the arrow went right through the box. Okay. Not too shabby. Can't wait to do this in the nice warm summer weather. Oh, yeah, that arrow's done. I'll show you this after. That's bad. Must have hit something inside the box. Alright, let's give that another shot. Second round. This is the dual 12-gram adapter. Dual! Whew, baby! Okay. Now we're talking some puppy crunch power here. Where's here? Oh, there it is. Did this one survive? Yep, this arrow survived. Wow, I think I need a new sight on this box. Let me flip this over. There we go. This is actually my BB shooting box we're firing at. Okay. That's 2, man. That's 2 the same. That's... By the way, that was a grand total of 8 turns. I turned it 2 more times before we came out here. So I've got a total of 8 turns on this screw. .303. That's 3 shots. I wonder how many we're going to get out of this thing. Now we are in the shop. I'm out here with a t-shirt, and it's probably a lot warmer out here. I don't know exactly what the temperature is, but alright, let's go again. 290. So, summertime hot shooting, we should be seeing somewhere around, rough guesses because of CO2 loss and cool shooting. This is using a lot more gas per shot. We're not exactly taking time. We should see at least 340s out of this thing. .278. Now we know that in 8 degrees we got, what was it, 9 shots? Somewhere around there. And that's out of this adapter. And we were not even hitting 300. 267. I'm going to have to count these shots off when I go and preview the video. Now we are into some stiffer areas of cardboard, so at least we're not going right through the box. .254. Wow. Now when I check the weather forecast, that's based on wherever they take the temperatures for the internet for flossing. 240. Now I'm still shooting the original arrows that came with this gun, so they've got a lot of rounds through them. 221. Still doing amazingly good for shot count. $190. I'm betting we only get one more shot now. 190 FPS is still doing good though. That's still a lot of foot-pounds of energy out of these arrows. That's it. 151 final shot. Alright. Let me show you the damage we did to that one arrow. So, can we say done for? Yeah, that's kind of fried. Oh yeah. There's no coming back from that. Now, keep in mind, I've had a lot of rounds with these arrows. One of these actually ended up in my backboard outside. And I got a piece of that stupid carbon fiber in my thumb now. There we go. That's out. Anyways, one got stuck in my backboard, which was probably that one. It also rebounded once. And I had another one that I actually shot. I was trying to line up a scope on this. Or no, I freehand shot it. And somehow it hit at some weird angle on my backboard and actually shattered the arrow. I'll show you that when we go back in the house because I still got the shattered arrow. So I'm down to my last factory arrow on this thing now. But I do still have a box of 6 arrows to go through. I'm going to definitely have to order a lot more arrows in. But those are some really impressive Chrony results, impressive shot count. I'm starting to feel the cold in here now, so I'm not sure the exact temperature out here, but I did bring the gun straight from the house right away in here, started shooting. That's actually pretty impressive for cool weather shooting with CO2 gas, especially in the 300s. That did extremely well, and we even ended up with a dual shot, which was good too. So that's pretty impressive. Turning up just a couple of turns. I mean, that's, like I said, grand total was 8 turns. And it is a counterclockwise turn, and I'm using the 9/64 SAE ball end Allen key, and it's a long Allen key, because like I said, you've got to get down in there. It's a bit of depth. So a short key is not going to do it. A mid-length might not. I got the long ones. When we go back in the house, I'll give you the measurement length. And we'll also go recheck, and I'll tell you when we get in the house what the Chrony results originally were with the 12-gram adapter, the dual 12-gram, in 8 degrees outside. And so, because that bottle would have cooled down, because we started with a single 12-gram, then to the dual 12, so it had time to get cold in here. And then, of course, our last bottle was the 90-gram, and it was pretty cold. And the results on the Chrony with that were not the world's best for the outdoors at 8 degrees. And like I said, the weather forecast says right now it's 2 degrees outside. I would probably say it's somewhere about maybe 5 or 6 degrees is about what I'm feeling for chill in here. I'm just wearing a t-shirt, so I'm guessing it's probably around 6 degrees Celsius in here right now. Anyways, let's go back in the house. Instant for you. Okay guys, full tally is in now. So when I originally Chronied the gun, single 12-gram was actually our warmest bottle. And it saw 291 on the first shot and then drastically dropped down. Okay, its final shot after 6 shots was 147. Top speed was 291. Didn't really stay completely stable. Original testing on the dual 12 gram adapter, this guy, now he was the second one in the row, so I already had a chance to get cooled down a bit outside. It was 8 degrees outside at the time. Both Chrony sets were done in the shop. Okay, its top speed was 267 with a final shot of 181, and then all the gas went psh. That gave us 9 shots total. Now, it says on the weather forecast, and I had checked the weather forecast on the first Chrony, and it said 8 degrees. Today's forecast says it's 2 degrees outside, so +2 Celsius, feels like -1, which I can pretty much say that's probably sort of accurate. It definitely is not no 8 degrees outside. Now, the only thing we've done here is we've turned the screw in the back here with a power adjuster screw 8 turns. Okay, now they're not full 360 degree turns because we're not going to get that. We're only going to be getting basically half turns basically out of this thing, or maybe a 3/4 turn. So we're not getting a full actual 8 full 360 degree turns each time, because it's kind of difficult when you got this thing sticking out. And anyways, so our shot count now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 shots. We only got 9 shots in the 8 degree, so they say. Now I'm using the same brand of bottles too inside this thing, okay? So that shouldn't make any difference, although we did take this, which will make the difference, right out of the house. This was already ignited in the house. The gun was the last thing I brought out. I already had everything set up. This did not get a chance to get cold at all. Okay? Now, our shot count goes like this: 311, 311, 303, 290, 278, 267, 254, 240, 221, 190, and our final shot, 151. Okay? Now that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That gives us 11 shots. Now you remember I told you about a guy on YouTube I watched him, I can't pronounce his channel name. Anyways, he got 11 shots at 16 degrees in his building shop, whatever, okay? So he was 16 degrees Celsius. Now, he didn't know about the power jack-up mod, obviously, so he had no idea that that existed. So I would say in total, considering, you know, the turns, and they're not full 360 turns, I did do this 8 times, we're probably looking at somewhere realistically about maybe about 5.5, maybe 5.5 actual full revolutions out of that screw, which really does not amount to much of that screw coming out. And that screw can come out quite a ways, according to Kid Pellet's channel. Now, I haven't seen any new Chrony results since he's done any of the other mods. It's been a while since he's put up a video on this gun, so I have no idea what happened. He was doing other modifications inside, etc. But that is some pretty impressive results. Now, I would say we probably went through, what, maybe about 7 or 8 minutes with the 12 gram adapter on the first video. Its highest shot was 291, and that was like fresh and still really warm on that bottle. 267 on the dual 12 after sitting for that amount of time. 267 to a 311 jump. That is not a realistic jump for if the gun was staying stock, and we have 8 degrees versus 2 degrees. So turning up that jack-up screw actually does work. And we actually got more shot count, which is kind of surprising but kind of not. This thing was already nice and warm in the house already, and it's only about 35 feet from my door to my shop roughly, give or take, probably a couple feet extra. So, and you know, I didn't run out to the shop, I didn't jog, but I walked at a brisk pace. I wanted to get in there, and I shut the door, seals in everything, boom, and we actually got a higher shot count, and we got more power out of the gun, which is quite impressive. And So, and I was standing back probably about the same distance away from the Chrony, maybe about a foot extra tops. Because you do have to stand away from the Chrony a bit with this gun, because you have to give the arrow time to, leave the gun, get across the Chrony properly, etc. Because you're shooting arrows. This is not pellets and BBs we're shooting. Now, according to the Umarex box, if we were going to start looking at foot-pounds of energy, the closest they have here to a 311 shot would be 315, which is 37 foot-pounds. Final shot of 151. Well, the 190 shot, the closest they have is 195 at 14. So 151, I'd have to do the math on the calculator on the computer, but I would probably venture a guess somewhere about 12 foot-pounds of energy for that final shot. And I mean, if you're small game hunting with this thing, you can still, you're going to have to compensate aim, of course, but 12 foot-pounds is still more than enough to take out your small game. So, you do need a 9/64 Allen key. That's totally confirmed. So 9/64, of course, is standard. It is not metric. And the total length of this key is about 5 3/8 in length. So if you look at putting this thing in here, you could probably get away with a slightly shorter one without a big problem, but you do have to get some angle up and back over so you'll be able to turn the key. Okay? But that actually does fit and work. Now, the arrow destruction. I kind of peeled back a little bit of this. That was our arrow that we destroyed in the shop. That's done for. This is the one I told you hit my backboard, probably in the wrong way, I don't know, but it got shattered to bits. We never did find the other end of it. And these have been through quite a number of shots. And of course this one is still staying intact after all the torture we've put it through, and it's doing quite well, so we'll keep this one going for a while. I do have 6 other arrows, because like I said, when I got the gun I also ordered an extra 6-pack of arrows. Generally you're not shooting at a cardboard box, so I'd probably try to avoid that. It's what I have right now as boxes to shoot at. We are looking actually into getting the self-rehealing or self-healing foam target. Canadian Tire has them. They're about $50-some. My wife actually has it on a sale wish list kind of thing. So if it does go on sale, fine. If it doesn't go on sale in the next while, I'll just go out and spend the money and buy it, because a proper target is going to stop the arrows properly, and I'm not going to get damaged. The reason these are getting damaged is because of the cardboard box. Obviously, I can't remember which one of these arrows actually went through my backboard. My backboard is chipboard, so it's like glued on, slivers of chip type stuff. They call it chipboard or aspenite. And it's about a ½ inch thick. It's pretty thick. And the arrow actually went a little over halfway through that. I was trying to sight this thing in, and it kind of went through. Whoopsie. So yeah, the other one, of course, I freehand shot thinking, hey, I'm aiming at the box. But I guess with what I was doing, I was actually a little different angle, and of course, the way it hit, yeah, nothing left of this one. So just keep in mind, do have a backstop wherever you're shooting. Very important to have one. It saves arrows to a certain point. It definitely saves doing other damage or having stray arrows going somewhere. Even though I have nothing but woods back there, there is an adjoining property about roughly 600 feet back, so I mean an arrow would just run into a tree, but the thing is I'd rather have the backstop anyways to be even more safe and secure, because I wouldn't want to chance a stray arrow not hitting a tree, because that would suck. So that's why I have a big huge backboard in behind my target range out in the front yard. So it's a safety thing. You have to be safe with stuff, especially when you're talking high-powered guns like this. This is crazy fun. But either way, I'm impressed with just, those 8 basically half turns that we're getting out of this thing, or whatever it is, or 3/4 turns. that's impressive. So I think as far as summer shooting goes, we should be seeing somewhere around 340s, maybe even 360s, maybe a little bit higher. It's hard to say. We will have to revisit this gun next summer when it's a really nice hot day out, and we'll re-Chrony in hot weather. We'll probably call it the hot weather Chrony test or some crazy title like that for you guys. But you can bring the power level up on this gun. Now, I don't know how many turns you can get away with. Kid Pellet doesn't know how many. I would probably start at the 8 that I did, and because you don't want to go too overboard, okay? There is a limit to what you should be doing when it comes to jacking, and you have no way of knowing when you're running out of threads, but you do have a fair amount of threads in there. So, you know, but just be careful about it if you are going to lift the power up on this for a couple of reasons. One, you don't know how much thread you have and you don't want to pop and blow the thread out. You also don't want hammer spring binding. He wasn't sure if the spring would ever bind anyways, but better be safe than sorry, because that would suck, because then you're going to have to take the gun apart to fix your screw up. But I don't see any problem in just the 8 turns that I did. Probably 12 would definitely be good too. And again, at the same time, you don't want to go too overboard because you are adding a lot of extra preload on the hammer. It does put more pressure against the hammer spring, or sorry, the valve stem. So you don't want to crack the stem on a shot that you fire and then have it start leaking either, right? Because it's only going to withstand so much pressure at the back, because it's not a stiff valve return spring in this. It is a softer one, so it allows this extra juice to come out to launch these heavy arrows. So yeah, I would take that as advisement of saying, you know, just don't overcrank things. It is a counterclockwise turn rotation, okay? In order to back the screw out, it's counterclockwise. So keep that in mind if you are going to play around with this. But I do think it was definitely worth playing around with it for the turns, because 311, even in +2, that's a huge increase over even the 291 at +8, which was our top shot on a single 12 gram. Okay, so that's actually pretty impressive. So we should be seeing a lot better numbers now too, even on the single 12 gram. I don't think we're going to see any extra real shot count, but we're going to see extra better power output, and we definitely are going to swallow up more gas, that's for sure, because when you're, you know, lifting the power levels, you're definitely swallowing up more gas. The thing is we did have warm shooting with this bottle, so that I could see where we got the extra couple of shots from the original video. And we did get some very impressive numbers as far as stability goes. Go back and check my original Chrony video and watch the 12 gram section as well, and you'll get the shot count, but you'll also see the deviation from 267 down to the final shot at 181, and then check these deviation numbers. And again, these are 311, 311, 303, 290, 278, 267, 254, 240, 221, 190, and 151 is the final shot. Our final shot on this, when it was cooler, was actually, where was it? First shot, last shot, 9 shots. Oh, I did, yeah, 181. Okay, so it had a little bit higher last shot, but it had less shots, but it also had less power. So it's kind of a thing where CO2 gets cold, things are weird. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. So thanks so much for checking this video out. Also, like I said, check out Kid Pellet's channel. He's the one who revealed the secret port and what it was for when he had his gun in pieces. He stumbled on it by mere accident because it wasn't listed in the manual anywhere as far as what this is for. It's like, that definitely looks like something that shouldn't be there unless it's meant to be there. Apparently it is, because we can lift the power up a bit. Anyhow, catch you guys in the next one. See ya.